Star Wars 7x7 episode 1913. Well, Kevin Feige is apparently going to be making a Star Wars movie. Yes, the head of Marvel Studios is going to be playing in the Star Wars sandbox, and of course that has the rumor mill going, so let's take a look at that whole foo-for-ah. Punch it! Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Voivod and this is Star Wars 7x7. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode. So here is the scoop, as reported exclusively and first. This is what they meant by exclusive, really. From The Hollywood Reporter, Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy is pursuing a new era in Star Wars storytelling, says Alan Horn, the Walt Disney Studios co-chairman. And knowing what a diehard fan Kevin Feige, who is the current head of Marvel Studios, it made sense for these two extraordinary producers to work on a Star Wars film together. Alright, so that is the quote from Alan Horn, and that is where our conversation begins. First off, all we know is that the two of them are going to be working on a movie together, Kathleen Kennedy and Kevin Feige. What the movie is, when it could be coming out, any details like that, no idea. The only thing that you can say we sort of know is that Kevin Feige has an actor in mind for a certain role if this movie ever gets made. We don't know if this is male, female, or otherwise. No clue whatsoever. Of course, Brie Larson naturally posts something on social media of her in Jedi robes leaning on a C-3PO statue and holding a lightsaber and saying, "Did someone say Star Wars?" Yeah, you could say that that's somebody rooting for it. Whether Brie Larson, that would be, of course, Captain Marvel in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Whether that's actually who we're talking about, well, it seems a little bit too obvious in the sense that if you're going to report a rumor about, oh, he's talked to somebody already, you know, I don't think if it was her, she would be coming out of the woodwork that quickly. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's why I'm kind of thinking, yeah, maybe that's not quite what the actual truth is. Now, if it wasn't Hollywood, then there wouldn't be drama, but naturally, because it is Hollywood, there's drama. And so, succession at Lucasfilm has been brought into the conversation. I don't know why we have to do this, but we're going to do it anyway. So here's the thing. What we know for sure is that Bob Iger, who is the head of Disney, has a contract through 2021, okay? Kathleen Kennedy also has a contract through 2021. Kevin Feige is working on Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that is scheduled to complete its run in 2022. So let's start there with the baseline. Now, Kevin Feige is a self-professed Star Wars nerd, but if you think about those dates, and you think to yourself, well, if I'm Kevin Feige, and I have an option to, say for example, if Kathleen Kennedy retires in 2021, and so the head of Lucasfilm opens up, and Bob Iger retires in 2021, and the head of Disney itself opens up, which job do you think he is going to be more interested in, okay? I mean, yeah, he's a Star Wars nerd, but I mean, come on, being the president and CEO of Disney, if he had the opportunity to choose between the head of Lucasfilm and the head of Disney, which one do you think he would really choose? Personally, I think it's Disney, 100 out of 100. And not to go too far down the existing organization chart, but there are people underneath Kevin Feige and also underneath Kathleen Kennedy who could easily be said to be being groomed for their positions moving up in the future. So yeah, I don't see this as a credible situation. Of course, I could be wrong. I'm just one person with one opinion, but be that as it may. And the other thing to consider is that, you know, you've got Star Wars movies where Kathleen Kennedy and Ron Bergman are listed as producers of the thing, okay? Ron Bergman is Rian Johnson's longtime producer, okay? Nobody was saying that Ron Bergman is being groomed for taking over Lucasfilm. Same thing with J.J. Abrams, right? He is also a producer and has that credit with Kathleen Kennedy. Alison Schumer had that credit for Rogue One. I mean, there are all sorts of producer credit situations where it doesn't necessarily mean somebody is taking over the company as a result. Yes, I know that Kevin Feige is comparatively in a much different position, but not necessarily when it comes to J.J. Abrams. I mean, J.J. Abrams just signed that big 9-figure deal for movie production for Bad Robot and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, certainly Kevin Feige is much more successful by comparison, but J.J. Abrams is still playing in that kind of rarefied era, and yet nobody's talking about him taking over Lucasfilm, and nobody was to begin with. He had his own production company that he was perfectly happy with and shopping stuff around. So yeah, I think this ultimately gets a little blown out of hand. Now, there is one other thing that I saw in reading up on stories reporting on the Kevin Feige Star Wars news that I just want to, dispel this particular notion that exists out there, and we'll get to that after the break. Stay tuned. Hey Rebel Rouser, I've made some changes to the asteroid belt level at patreon.com/SW7X7, and they are all with sponsors in mind. So if you want to get the word out about your business, your product, your service to a dedicated Star Wars audience, then please check out patreon.com/SW7X7 and look for the asteroid belt level for details. Again, that's patreon.com/SW7X7. Welcome back. So, Kevin Feige has had the benefit of pulling from 80 years of Marvel Comics stories, right? And so it's been suggested that, if he were to go to Lucasfilm, or if he's making a Star Wars movie, that he doesn't have those same opportunities because Disney wiped out the previous extended universe when they rebooted the canon in 2014. Well, just remember that doesn't matter, okay? I mean, period, paragraph, it doesn't matter. Over the past 5 years, we have had numerous instances of things that were in the old expanded universe that have been reintroduced into the new canon, okay? And the most prominent one of those, of course, would probably be the character of Grand Admiral Thrawn, who has now been in 3 novels and showed up in multiple seasons of Star Wars Rebels, and whose fate is still currently unknown, so he could be showing up in other things down the line also, all right? That's just one prominent example among many, many examples. So the notion that Kevin Feige in creating a Star Wars movie, or Benioff and Weiss, or Rian Johnson, or Deborah Chow, who is going to be the showrunner of the Obi-Wan series, or, like anyone can be pulling from the EU, and as long as it makes sense, then, it's all fair game. So if you're seeing anything saying, oh yeah, they're limited because they can't pull from the EU because Disney wiped it out. Nope, nope, nope. Plain and simple, nope. And that is going to do it for today's show. Thank you so much for joining me for it as always, and may the Force be with you wherever in the world you may be.
This podcast is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox. It is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other related Star Wars items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright 2019 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.